Hey guys, Terrible Acon 13 here, and Bungie have just finished up their last live stream before the April update, and oh boy, do we have a lot to get through. So without further ado, let's get in. We'll start off at the beginning. Revive changes in the Crucible. So, you will no longer be able to sprint revive with your fast res armor piece because the distance from where you can start reviving has been brought in, so that means you will actually have to go to the person to revive them. So I feel that'll help the flow of game, less spam reviving. They've also added 2 seconds to the revive timer, so it'll take you 7 seconds before you're allowed to revive in Trials of Osiris, going then 14, 21 and further and further. So that'll stop people using spam revives to gain overshields, which have also taken a hit, so they will not be as strong. So no more you shoot somebody, his teammate revives them, 2 people that are rushing you with overshields and you get your ass kicked. Great thing. Happy with that. Now we get on to rewards. They have upgraded the rewards, so we are meant to get more rewards, more legendary rewards. I know they say this all the time, but there are supposed to be more legendary rewards coming at the end of Crucible matches. So happy days there.
Now we're not going to change the way this screen behaves necessarily, and these are new characters, so we'll see. Awesome.
This is a test environment.
It's a test environment. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
But
they have also taken the legendary engrams out of Iron Banner and replaced them with Iron Banner loot. So you should just be getting Iron Banner loot when you're playing Iron Banner, which should also be dropping at an increased rate. So good improvements there. Again, they've also means that now the Shack's weekly bounty, that will be dropping at up to 335 loot, so there's another way as a solo player even to get yourself up to max light level. The Osiris bounties will be dropping at 330 loot, and the chest will be dropping at 335. So all the gear there, good, gives you multiple routes into max light level, which is never ever a bad thing. Now they've also changed up the ammo in the Crucible again. They've gone back to, you start with special ammo in all game types because of obviously the icebreaker and sidearm glitch where you could wait for your ammo to charge, die, swap full ammo on whatever weapon you had. It was annoying, but that's gone now. You will now start again with ammo, but special ammo will spawn later in games and less frequently. So that ammo you have, you better preserve and make sure you use it to the best effect possible. Heavy ammo next, and that is taking another hit. That will only spawn once at the 5-minute mark in the Crucible. So there will be less heavy ammo, less one team gets first heavy, kills everybody, gets supers, uses supers to get all the second heavy, kills everybody, wins match. Now if you lose on the first heavy, it's not going to be such a big thing. You can weather the storm and fight back. I feel this is a great change. Heavy ammo will now be something that will be fought over as an objective, and it's never a bad thing to have it like that. The only thing that differs there is that in Trials of Osiris, it will still be the same. When a team gets to 3 wins, we'll then get the heavy ammo round. So that is unchanged. Next up, we have weapons. Starting with auto rifles, the high rate of fire auto rifles have had a damage nerf. Very, very slight, but this is to your Doctor of Passion and Arminius D archetype weapons. They have a very small damage drop. And the low rate of fire auto rifles are getting a very slight damage increase on them. Next up we have Pulse. So the slow rate of fire are getting a very slight damage boost, which should basically mean that you should be able to head burst, kill a target with slightly higher armor values than you can at the moment. Hand cannons, they get a ammo capacity increase, which is not a bad thing. Now that is the carried ammo capacity, not what's in the chamber. So that's good because you are constantly running out of ammo with those guns. Fusions have been nerfed at... No, joking. No, they haven't done it. For once, Bungie are buffing the fusion rifle with an all-round flat stability buff. Now they look pretty solid in the test environment that we saw. Whether that translates nicely into game, we shall have to see. But a solid buff for the guns. Hopefully it'll bring them back up into that nice place that we would like to see them. Now, snipers. Oh, snipers. Yep. You got a bit of a hit. First up, the zoom distance on the low zoom scopes, and that is the short gaze, the long view, and the ambush, have been increased slightly, which will drop your field of view and make those quick scopes that little bit harder. The other thing that happened is 2 frames have been added to the scoping in, which will not be visible at all, but will just slightly decrease the ability to scope in. And on that one, snapshot has been decreased from a 30% buff to scope in speed to only a 20% buff to scope in speed. So this is all just pushing it so that you're meant to engage at a longer distance and take your shots more steadily rather than running in 360 no scoping everybody and coming out the champion at the end. The other thing that's been done is they've dropped the stability on the guns to stop people using the double tap body shot technique that some people are using, so that will be a lot harder to pull off now. All in all, my thoughts on the weapons, they seem very good. Maybe a little bit hard on the snipers, maybe could have left scopes as they are, but that's a point of contention. Other than that, I think all these are really nice patches. They will hopefully give us a much more balanced meta. We'll just have to wait and see when it comes out. Now moving on, we have the exotics. And first up we have Mida. Now that is one of the most popular guns in the game, but the only change that is happening is it's having its intrinsic perk, the hidden perk of high caliber rounds, removed. They felt that the weapon is balanced and doing anything to it would just kill it, which to be fair is a fair point. And high caliber rounds will just make it less annoying to be shot by. So that's that one. Next up we have the Soros regime. Now of course it was getting the base damage buff that all low rate of fire autos are getting, which in testing they found that the spinning up perk meant that that was just a little bit too OP. So the spinning up perk on the Soros will now start 4 rounds later, so that's 4 bullets later before it will start spinning up, just to help balance that. On the flip side, the focused fire now has a range buff, which means when you add that to all the other range boosting perks you can get on Soros, you can max out the range, which means you can have a very slow firing, hard hitting auto, which I feel will be very, very nice. So I'm looking forward to that one. All in all, nice changes there. Hawkmoon, you are up next, and you get a range buff along with the carry ammo capacity buff for the rest of the hand cannons. Again, great buff. This range buff I personally would like to see on all hand cannons, but at least Hawkmoon's got it, so I am happy there. The last word, your last word perk, is getting a damage decrease from the hipfire damage buff. So nothing too dramatic, but it should stop the 2-tap quick headshot kill that is given. So brings it a little bit more in, but not killed it totally. Now, Thorn. Ooh, Thorny boy. You are still in year 1, so everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. We will not be seeing Thorn dominate trials for the rest of year 2. But the dot has been decreased. It has been nerfed, so it does less damage and ticks only 4 times now. So that is good changes there. I think that's probably the best change you could have done to that gun. Next up, we have Icebreaker, which is also still in year 1. Now, they haven't done too much to this. They've just increased the zoom on it to cement it as a longer range weapon, and have also removed the ammo swap, so you can no longer use it to charge ammo and then die and swap. Now, this has been done for all special weapons, so no more using sidearms or anything like that to generate ammo, switch over. That is now gone. The Dreg's Promise, which will be coming into year 2 with the patch, has had a very interesting little tweak. It now has tracking, or at least ADS tracking. So, similar to how rockets work, when you aim down sight and hover over a target, with a rocket you get that sound, which means that it has engaged its tracking, and the rocket will track that. Dreg's Promise is the same, but does not have the sound. So you'll just have to assume that you've got it and know when to fire. And don't worry, this tracking does not seem to be as insane as Truth. You're not going to be able to cross map people with the dregs or be chased around for kilometers by Dreg's Promise rounds. So it'll be interesting how this plays out. That gun definitely needed a buff, and hopefully this will make it competitive without being completely game breaking. One note I would put on that, when it was firing, I saw maybe one headshot landed with the tracking rounds. So the tracking rounds definitely seem to favour going for centre of mass rather than headshots. So that could be something to take into account. Last but not least, we have the Telesto. And this buff, or fix I suppose it is, I love. You can now attach the Telesto rounds to your friends. Yes. And to their items, say their Titan bubbles. Yes. So much fun could be had with this. Oh, so much fun. Load up your friend, make him run at the enemy, make him blow up the enemy, load up your friend's Titan bubble while the enemy are trying to charge in. Oh, the fun and games that could be had with this. Just think about it. Contested capture point or Rift Spark. Titan jumps in, drops his bubble down. Teammates spray bubble with explosive rounds, everything explodes. Interesting? Certainly for me. Next up, Warlocks come under the hammer with some class balances. So let's get straight to the sore point that happened here. Firebolts and Viking Funeral build are still a thing. They have been untouched. They said that it would be too difficult to change it as the class is really based around applying that dot and the management of it, and that they would need to balance the entire subclass to change how that is. Okay, fair point. My solution for this would have been maybe remove fireball grenades. Maybe a bit too much, but you could replace it with another solar grenade in there. And that would solve the problem. You could keep the dot and keep all the rest of the subclass builds, just have the grenade different. Might change it. Counter argument to this, of course, is that to make firebolts as OP as they are, you do need to take 2 other perks on top. So there is a give and take. You could be using other perks instead of that. But then again, those perks are particularly strong and would have been strong choices in that tree anyway. So, swings and roundabouts on that argument. But as for now, we have the Firebolt Viking Funeral build as it is. So, what did they do to the Sunsingers other than that? Well, they have reduced the Flame Shield's strength and brought up Brimstone and Solar Wind. So, good balances there. And Fireborn, your super will not be as effective as if you are using Radiant Skin or Song of Flame. With Radiant Skin, Song of Flame, you'll find you'll be able to throw more grenades, and with Song of Flame, you're more likely to buff your teammates in a much more useful way. Next up, the Stormcaller. Now that was another point of contention, and I feel the changes they've done here are very good. First off, you will not be able to buff using perks your Storm Trance into infinity and beyond. So no more popping your Storm Trance and it just continuing for the entirety of eternity. The next one is that when you are using your twiddly fingers, that will take up energy. So it sounds like when you are in your Storm Trance, you will use energy if you just spam the button. You will have to think about when to activate it. And as a Titan, this is obviously very close to my heart here, you will no longer be able to use Landfall to pop bubbles. I feel this is a good change. It is not a Fist of Havoc or a Nova Bomb. It is a roaming super. It should not pop it in one hit. The other change that they've made to Landfall is that the blinding effect has been reduced. So all in all, good changes there. They haven't nerfed it into Oblivion. It's still going to be a very, very effective subclass. Just taking the edge off some of those slightly OP powers. Voidwalkers were last, and they pretty much got left alone. The only thing is they changed life drain, and by changed I mean buffed. They were very indescript about it. We will need to see what happens when the patch notes come out for the exact changes, but it sounds like the energy drain will be more effective. They want the build to be all about using abilities, so we'll need to see. So energy drain builds may become super effective soon, but we'll just have to see. Well guys, that was pretty much the update. All in all, my thoughts, I'm very happy with this. The firebolt thing was maybe a bit of a stuff. I feel they should have left the special ammo alone, since they did fix the glitch that made it exploitable. I would maybe have preferred if they just left it like that and left the special ammo as they changed it, but they haven't. It's done. Now all we have to do is wait until next week, which I cannot wait for, to see how all of this plays out. I will be streaming on the 12th when this comes out, once I've got the patch downloaded, so go hit me up on my Twitch, TerribleAcorn13. And I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. As always, like and subscribe for more Destiny content, and until next time, laters.